So anyway, she puts together a plan to take Freddy down. Man, it's gonna be tough for her to figure out that one if he controls the dream world and apparently the real world. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, she realizes that just like the hat, if she holds on to him in a dream and wakes up, she'll pull him into the real world. But you said she was holding him earlier when she got woken up by the alarm clock. Right, but that was different. How so? Unclear. So you have an Ant-Man sequel script for me? Yes, sir, I do. It must have been hard to find a good way to follow up the events of Infinity War. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. This is gonna take place before. Probably a good idea. Yeah. So what's the movie about? Well, Scott is on house arrest because of what he did in Civil War, and he only has a couple days left on his sentence. Are tight, but how did the quantum realm help? Please stop asking me questions about the quantum realm. Well, okay then. Thanks. So is it gonna be hard for Ghost to survive now that Janet's back? Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. How so? Well, Janet is gonna make Ghost feel better by using her fingers. Oh, not like that. Oh. Yeah, so Janet spent so much time in the quantum realm that she evolved and she has powers now. What kind of powers? The kind that fix this one problem and are never a tiny pile of goo and flush him down a toilet. Jesus, why doesn't he try selling that as a weapon? That's horrifying. He doesn't think of that, I guess. Now, I hate to do this, but is there a way we could kind of tie this movie in with the Avengers? Oh, yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I'll just add like a little side quest where Ant-Man has to go get a thing and he'll end up fighting an Avenger. I love it. What Avenger did you have in mind? Well, Iron Man would be cool. Yeah, if you want to double the movie's budget. Crazy action scenes and the characters delivering a bunch of exposition to each other. Wow, it must be difficult to jump back and forth between exposition and action. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, once enough information has been delivered in a scene, I'll just have the conversation be cut off by an explosion. Oh, well, that's one cool way to transition. What other ways are we gonna use? Other explosions. That works. Yeah, oh, this time it does, yeah. Wow. So now she has to give birth while there's a monster in the house trying to kill her. Man, labor takes hours. It's gonna be impossible for her to do that. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, she manages to get inside a bathtub and Marcus sets off some fireworks, which covers for the noise. He sets off fireworks for hours. No, she gives birth in like 5 minutes. Oh, she does. Yeah, that baby just comes right out. The Oculus Rift to bring Artemis's dad back. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's something, all right. So is it gonna be tough for them to survive the big showdown with Opal Kaboy? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, because there's not gonna be one. Oh, there's not. There's no showdown. Yeah, no, we're all done here. Oh, well, okay. So, you want to play Fortnite or what's up? No, thank you. I've got a wagon thing called the Turok. Okay. And only 5 people in history have been able to take control of this thing. Wow, so it's gonna be a real struggle for him to take control of it. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, he realizes that, hey, maybe nobody's attacked this thing from above, and so that strategy works immediately. Hard to believe no one's ever thought of that. So anyway, at the end of the movie, the bad humans are gonna try to drop some bombs on them, that they have to do the exact same thing they did with Ultron again. He wants them to redo the thing that created a death robot? That's right. God, is it gonna be hard to convince Bruce to do it? No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, he basically says that they're both monsters, and for some reason that convinces him. That was easy. Anyway, so they do the thing again, but this time Thor hits it with some lightning, and that creates a really nice dude named Vision somehow. It's crazy how science works, Outcast. No, it's just a cute thing she says. Oh, okay. Anyway, so Tony's gonna end up changing his mind about helping them, so then he has to figure out time travel. But he says it's impossible. That's gonna be hard to do. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, he just tries something after doing the dishes and it works immediately. Well, great. So then the Avengers have to get the rest of the team together. Oh, very exciting. Yeah, so they go get Thor, but fantastic. Did you know that James Cameron re-released Avatar and just slapped some new footage on there? I mean, what a cheap move. A very cheap move, sir. Man, it must have been hard to find a way to compete with that. Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, I was thinking we could re-release Endgame, right? But we could, slap some new content onto it. Oh, that's a smart move. A very smart move, sir. Well, I'm on board if we don't beat Avatar. Oh my god. And then we're gonna have the title reveal. Now, we said publicly that nobody had guessed the title yet. Right, we did say that. It must have been hard to come up with something that nobody would figure out. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, it's gonna be called Avengers-Endgame. That was probably the most guessed title, though. Yeah. And we also said that the title wasn't spoken in Avengers Infinity War, but Endgame totally was. Well, here's the thing. I guess that's a satisfying answer. And then that Scarecrow guy is gonna pop out and attack them. Oh man, it's gonna be hard for Rachel and a child to take on a Batman villain. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, she's gonna be scared for a second, but then she's gonna, you know, tase him in the goddamn face. Oh my god. Yeah, he freaks out, his horse freaks out. His horse? Did I not mention he's on a horse? He's on a horse. Oh, attacking people while really no. And so then Batman ends up in this situation where Riddler's like, hey, here are two people you care about. You can only save one of them. Man, it's gonna be tough for Batman to get out of that situation. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, he just tosses a batarang at this big glass thing that controls Riddler's brain waves, and then it fries his brain. Riddler decided to confront Batman under a big breakable thing that's the source of his brain power. He sure did. No, nobody's gonna buy that. Cool, so listen, we also have to kind of use this movie to set up the Justice League film. Is that gonna be hard to shoehorn in there? No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, actually way ahead of you on that one. Batman is gonna meet Wonder Woman at Lex's party. Oh, why is she there? Because. Gotcha, and they're gonna go on kind of a side quest to uncover the other heroes? No, but what they will do and do that. Oh no. Yeah, so there's gonna be this big fight scene between everyone. Gaston is gonna shoot the Beast a couple of times. Oh man, it's gonna be hard for the good guys to beat Gaston if the Beast's been shot. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh really? Yeah, see, the castle is crumbling, so Gaston just falls to his death. Wait, why is the castle crumbling? Because that works. And so yeah, now Belle is in love with the Beast because he was nice to her a handful of times, and the curse came there. That's probably fine. Yeah, we figured who really cares at this point. Let's just throw some action on the screen. But what are they gonna do about all the dead plants? It's gonna be hard to reverse that damage. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, they just sprinkle some pollen on the plants and they instantly come back to life. That's not how that works at all. It might be. It's not. Okay, well, is that really gonna change your opinion of this movie? No, it's fine. At this point, we're just straight up making her taking their blindfolds off. What? Yeah, she was gonna make the little girl do it, but then she's like, nah, it's fine, let's just go. Well, it's gonna be impossible for them to get down the rapids blindfolded. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, the boat flips over into the freezing water, but they're all fine. How do the kids even know how to swim? Well, swimming isn't that hard, and jumping into freezing cold rapids is a great way to learn. Oh, it is? That's how my brother and I were taught when we— Okay, I meant like the Joker, like the Jared Leto Joker. Oh, now that you say that, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Oh, whoops.
Whoopsie. All right, Mur, do you think you can find your way out?
Sure. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Okay, he stole my line. Yeah, he stole it. All right, bye.
Bye.
So can we get Jared Leto then? Oh, yeah, no, I don't want him figuring out my new address. He's gonna start sending me weird stuff again. Oh, yeah, that's probably smart. If there's one thing those guys know, it's how to write an ending, so I'm all in. Great, and so now the bad guys use guns, so you know, it's really dangerous. Wow, is it gonna be hard for them to beat them? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Black Canary uses her superpowers and knocks everyone down with her voice. What? Yeah, she has superpowers. Is that something we established or knew about during the movie? We did not know. I mean, she broke a glass while singing, but that's about it. How come she— Turns out he had his own evil plan going on this whole time. Oh, what's he planning? His plan is to kill Claw and bring him to Wakanda to show that he's better than T'Challa. And I imagine it's gonna be hard for him to get into Wakanda. No, actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, he's just gonna kind of walk in and then immediately run into Wakabi. Oh, that is convenient. Yeah, I mean, the very first person he runs into is the one that would have the most emotional response to seeing Claw's body, so that works out well for him. Place in sunny Albuquerque. There it is. There are gonna be a bunch of scenes taking place in Mexico, though. I don't know about that. It sounds like it's gonna be tough to shoot those scenes without making the budget shoot through the roof. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, all we have to do is film stuff in the States and add a yellow tint to it. Wait, what? Because, you know, everything in Mexico is yellow. I don't think that's true. Yep, it's true. It's all yellow. Here, I'll let you talk to a writer friend. 1991 involving the Winter Soldier. So he tries to find out what it is by interrogating this Hydra dude, but it doesn't work. The hiccup? Right, but from that point on, everything's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm listening. So he decides he needs to interrogate Bucky himself, but Bucky is in hiding. So he bombs the United Nations and frames Bucky to kind of flush him out. Wouldn't being framed just send him deeper into hiding? You'd think so, but it works almost immediately. Real romantic. If you say so. I do. So you said this movie takes place during the Second World War. It's gonna be hard to have Cap appear in a modern day Avengers movie. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're just gonna have him make, you know, the most unnecessary sacrifice ever.
What do you mean?
Well, he's gonna be in a plane that has bombs in it, so he's gonna crash it into a frozen ocean.
Right, seems unnecessary to be in the plane when it
Of an elevator and escape on a motorcycle.
very exciting.
But then an attack plane thing is gonna get in his way.
Oh man, is it gonna be hard for him to take down an attack plane thing?
No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh really?
Yeah, we're gonna do this cool thing where physics stop mattering.
We are?
Yeah, he's gonna jump from his motorcycle to the plane thing. Then he's gonna basically play pinball with his shield, which by the way is a boomerang now.
Wow, very unsubtle. Yeah, super on the nose. It's gonna be great.
Anyway, so yeah, then she's gonna have to fight the Kree.
Wow, is it gonna be difficult for her to take them on?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh really?
Yeah, she just kind of taps into her full power and, you know, becomes the most powerful hero we've ever seen.
What was her power set before that?
Like photon blasts or something?
Very vague.
Yeah, kind of.
And what are her powers?
Phrases into entire sections of the script.
Shoehorning catchphrases into scripts is tight, but isn't it going to be difficult to force them into entire sections?
Actually, it'll be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you explain how?
Oh no, I wasn't actually prepared to back that up with anything. Is it alright if we just kind of move on?
Well, whatever then. Little Britain got away with it. Seriously though, we need a new act.
This woman Vesper that's with him comes to save him. Why didn't he go directly to see her when he knew he was poisoned? Unclear. Huh, well, it's gonna be tough for him to get back into the card game after that.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's just immediately fine and carries on. But he died.
Yeah, a little. No big deal.
It feels like a big deal.
Well, it's not, so absolutely get off my back if that woman gets arrested.
She does, and she was literally caught holding the murder weapon, so, you know, it's not good.
Man, it's gonna be hard for her to save the day after being arrested.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she's gonna realize that one of her powers is that she can fit through tight spaces like a cat.
Oh, tight spaces are tight.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And also she can teleport.
Oh, she can teleport?
Yeah, we're just a van in Maui.
Oh, living in vans is tight. Sometimes I'll break into vans and sleep in them overnight.
What?
So it must have been hard for him to break into Hollywood from a van in Maui.
Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a classic case of working as a waiter at Bubba Gump Shrimp and being discovered by Tommy Chong's daughter.
Isn't that always how it goes?
Yeah, so Ray Don Chong cast him in a horror short film called Cursed Part 3.
A classic. So, you know, I gotta be honest, sir, I thought you'd be laughing by now.
Oh, that was the funny thing?
Yeah, he gets all wet. Well, comedy's hard. No, it's actually super easy. Barely an inconvenience, if you say so.
I do, so we're gonna get a good 5 minutes out of that gag.
5 minutes, wow, okay, really going in on that, it's currently raining bit.
Yeah, and so Luther's gonna see an ad for a cruise, right? And then he gets the idea to nobody knows. So I imagine it's gonna be hard for Coraline to wander around in a world that other mother completely created and look for the dead kid eyes. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna say that the other mother has a thing for games, so Coraline's gonna be like, I have a game. Let me try to find the eyeballs. And that works. It does, and so then she does.
Wow, well, I'm glad the horrifying
Okay, and so yeah, that's about it.
Well, sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, and I was actually hoping we could maybe do an Elektra spin-off, but that's gonna be hard now that she's dead.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll just give her one of those non-permanent deaths.
Oh, that'll make for a good movie.
Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Hope you enjoyed that pitch meeting. We have Wade try to protect this little boy Russell who wants to kill his evil headmaster.
Okay.
And they're both gonna end up getting arrested and going to jail. Oh, it's gonna be hard to protect him in jail. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Really?
Yeah, he and the kid are gonna get put in the same cell, so that works out nicely. Now that's not how jail works. Well, that's how they work in my scripts, because I gotta move the plot forward.
No offense, but it seems a little lazy.
Oh, well, at a certain point, I'm gonna have Deadpool. We're making it again. Anyway, so Deadpool has this collar on that stops his powers from working, and we're gonna say it would take a grenade to take this thing off.
Oh, wow, so it's gonna be hard for him to get out of that.
Actually, no, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wade's gonna fall from like a story up, and it's just gonna break off.
That is convenient.
And so then Cable and Deadpool are gonna go flying out of the prison, and Deadpool's gonna fall off a cliff into be resolved by having a conversation. For sure, so we're gonna stretch the whole thing out by having him fight a bunch of different people. But we know he's not in any danger, right? It's gonna be hard to make that entertaining. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Inconvenience. Really? Yeah, I'm just gonna fill all the scenes with a lot of fourth wall breaks and a whole lot of penis jokes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a couple of non-penis jokes in there, but it's mostly penis jokes. Penises are tight.
Oh, what?
Oh, Raper, he puts on this little headband thing that lets him control Mewtwo, so Tim is like, you know, uh-oh.
Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be impossible to stop him when he's controlling a powerful Pokemon like Mewtwo.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, he flies off as Mewtwo, but he leaves Tim in the room with his vulnerable body still wearing the unsecured headset.
Oh, that's pretty irresponsible.
Yeah, he does leave Tim with a Ditto to fight, though.
Oh, a Ditto, huh?
Or if he hadn't done that.
Whoops.
Whoopsie, so then later this cop is gonna pass through and John has to get his attention. Oh, and is that gonna be hard for him to do from all the way up in the building?
No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's just gonna throw the dead body of another guy he killed onto the cop's car. Wait, now that I think of it, he could have just fired his gun to get the cop's attention. Probably, but this guy's like really into communicating using dead bodies.
Animated classics. So what are we gonna do about some of our older movies that have, you know, insensitive depictions? It's gonna be tough to get away with streaming those today.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, I figure we could just add a line to the description of those things saying that they may contain outdated cultural references.
Oh, outdated. That's a great word to avoid saying the real word.
Yeah. What about eventually Jafar gets his hands on the lamp?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he exiles Aladdin to this snowy, freezy place so he'll freeze and die.
Wow, well, it's gonna be hard for Aladdin to get out of there.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cause see, Jafar sent him over there with his magic carpet.
Oh, that's very considerate of him.
It is, so Aladdin, you know, just kind of flies back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he manages to defeat Jafar by tricking him into wish. Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, it's something.
Wow, we'll have to read up on it.
Yeah, definitely do. It's something.
So anyway, is it gonna be hard to convince this guy?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he just waits for this ringleader guy to be sleeping, right?
Okay.
And then while he's dreaming, he kind of plants the idea in the ringleader's brain that Dumbo could be the star.
Okay, so kind of like the inception of an idea by influencing.
He'll show him.
Yeah, I guess. So then Elsa gets to be queen. Wait, what about all the people in the kingdom who thought she was a monster because of the ice powers?
What about them?
Well, it's gonna be hard for them to get over that.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, she just reverses the winter with love or something, and they're all like, oh, everything's great now.
Oh, that was easy, so they're just not scared of her powers anymore?
Nope, everything's fine, and so yeah, that's about it.
Wow.
So any idea? Mind-blowing fight scenes. It's gonna be like some raccoons in bathrobes are chasing Doctor Strange through a kaleidoscope. Very cool, but I mean, this guy's super powerful. It's gonna be hard for Doctor Strange to fight him. No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. How so? Well, as he's fighting him, he suddenly gets some help from a cape.
Oh, capes are tight.
Yeah, this is a cool cape with a feisty personality.
So does this cape help him fight throughout the rest of the movie?
Well, it's gonna help him in that scene, and then where Fly guy falls off a cliff.
Oh, and so he's just done? That story's over?
It's just over. So then the good guys are like, oh, we're gonna have to deal with this frickin' dragon.
Is that gonna be hard to do?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dr. Dolittle pulls some bagpipes out of its butthole.
What? He does what? What does he do?
Well, the dragon had a very clogged butthole, so Dolittle pulls some bagpipes out of it.
Oh, dragon buttholes are tight.
Not particularly. 1996 movie where Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery go on a mission to Alcatraz. I love that movie. No, that's not. Are you trying to pitch a remake? Because we already have a guy who pitches movies.
No, I'm not.
I could get him in here if you want. It'd be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I'm not trying to pitch you a remake of The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson is The Rock. Oh, you lost me. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, highest paid actor of 2016. That doesn't ring any bells? Listen, he must have slid past me. How about you just for the sake of conflict?
Oh, unnecessary conflicts are tight.
And we're also gonna have Jacob come back.
Wow, must have been difficult to write him into the story seeing as his memory was erased in the last film.
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just gonna show up like, hey, that memory thing didn't work yet, idiots. Won't that kind of cheapen the emotional memory wipe scene from the last movie?
Cheapen? I don't know the meaning of the word.
20s and follows this British guy, Newt Scamander, who comes to New York with a suitcase full of magical creatures.
Oh, it's gonna be hard for him to get through customs with that thing.
No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when the customs guy wants to see inside the case, Newt hits this little switch that makes it okay for muggles.
So it can be opened up safely without the creatures jumping out?
Yeah, exactly. Totally safe to open up.
So how come he didn't already
Hey, they're gonna try to hold him.
Why would Newt and Tina be immediately sentenced to death but not him?
I don't know how wizard laws work.
Fair enough. So is it gonna be hard to deal with all the non-wizards that witness stuff?
No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because magic exists and I can just do whatever I want, remember?
Right, so what happens?
A bird makes it rain memory juice.
That works for me.
So what do you think?
Well, to be honest, I feel like
like I don't know much about Newt or Grindelwald.
Oh, she realizes something.
Oh no, what's going on?
She has a freaking pimple on her forehead.
On her wedding day?
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna be tough to have a pleasant wedding with a frickin' pimple.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, she just has to focus really hard on keeping the pimple invisible for the whole wedding.
Wouldn't making it invisible just expose like a fleshy hole on her forehead? When you get a pimple, it's not like there's perfect skin underneath the pimple.
Maybe there is.
Hydrant. Feels like he could have done that in his human form with like a wrench.
Oh, whoops.
Whoopsie. Anyway, so then they fight Dr. Doom in a big old fight.
Oh, it's gonna be tough to beat him now that he's super powerful.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, they just kind of combine their powers and that turns him into a statue in about 3.5 minutes.
Oh, that does sound easy.
So then the city or something throw a thank you party for them on a boat. What are they being thanked for?
For saving
Too long, and also we don't want to have them use their powers too much, right? The focus group. Exactly. So would it be super complicated to modify your script to kind of just jump to the end? Actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, I'll cut out about an hour of stuff and we'll put a title on the screen that says 1 year later. Great, so how does it end? Well, they're gonna rebuild the portal thing and bring back Victor. Oh, he didn't die? Apparently not, so they bring him to the random bullshit. Yeah, like at a certain point, Christian just crashes his helicopter in the middle of a forest. Oh, that is pretty random, right? And we're gonna see him struggle to get back home. Actually, no, that's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, he's just gonna show up back home and then we're never gonna talk about it again. Wow. We're also gonna have Anastasia's boss randomly try to rape her. Oh my god. Yeah, and he's gonna stalk them like the whole curse that needs to be lifted.
Oh, okay.
So then throughout the movie, the characters are gonna encounter a bunch of magical related problems.
Oh man, is it gonna be hard to solve those?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, every time a magical problem arises, it'll be solved by some other magic that exists because I decided it did.
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
And so what is Olaf up to this whole time?
Oh, well, he's pretty much doing the same thing he did in the books aren't all out yet. Oh, they're not. Yeah, no, the author's really taking his time with them. Well, it's gonna be hard to keep the show going once we're past the available source material. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm just gonna, get real crazy with it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, the characters are gonna stop acting like themselves and start doing dumb stuff just to get to some crazy set pieces I have in mind. Are people gonna be okay with that? Yeah, I figured 5 pairs of sunglasses on.
What?
So there are just tens of thousands of zombies and they're just swarming everybody.
Wow, it's gonna be tough for the main characters to live through an attack like that.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, anytime a really important character gets swarmed, we're just gonna kind of cut away from them and then come back later to see that they're fine.
Wait, so how do they survive?
By being off screen for a little bit.
I guess that makes sense.
Oh, also Bran is gonna he's not over.
Right, okay.
So then Clay wakes up and he sends in the ultimate weapon. This guy's like a ninja, he doesn't feel any pain.
Oh, sounds like he's gonna be hard to beat.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, they shoot him a bunch of times with explosive rounds and that does the trick.
Oh, well, great.
And then they take off this guy's mask and reveal that it's another clone of Henry. So how come Clay didn't send this guy to kill Henry in the first place? Character arcs. Oh, I don't have any of that going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that sounds boring. Let's stick with the improv, okay? Is it gonna be hard to wrap up a movie if nobody has character arcs? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the third act, we could just do what all blockbusters do these days. Big CGI fight in a sky beam. Big CGI fight in a sky beam. Oh, big CGI fights and sky beams are tight. Yeah, so essentially the
Gone. So what happens next?
Well, there's gonna be a showdown between Johnny and Blackheart, but the penance stare doesn't work on him because he doesn't have a soul.
Wow, so it's gonna be tough for Johnny to beat him.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cause see, Blackheart gets the contract and he absorbs 1,000 souls.
Blackheart immediately undoes the one thing protecting him from Ghost Rider's powers. That's what we're going with, yeah?
Oh, a very dumb demon. So then Ghost Rider is able to power of true love or something? I don't know, get off my back.
Well, okay then.
And then they're also gonna take on David.
Well, it's gonna be tough for them to take down the unbreakable man David Dunn.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just gonna, drown him in a puddle.
What?
Yep, they just hold him down in a puddle and he dies pretty quickly.
Feels like we barely got to see him in this movie.
That's right, after 19 years, we're barely gonna feature him and he's full of him. And then Hal Jordan's gonna take him on all by himself. The other Green Lanterns aren't gonna help? No, a couple are gonna show up when it's already done though. So is it gonna be hard for him to kill Parallax? No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, he's gonna punch him into the sun and that'll be that. Wow, that is pretty easy. Yeah, you'd think the other Lanterns would have thought of that. Yeah, but instead they just trapped him in weak restraints and called it a day. Huh, so what do you think of the movie? Think of a joke to make, but other than that, he's just gonna understand things normally.
Wow.
And then all the characters are gonna escape prison together.
Is that gonna be hard to do?
No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Yeah, because everything in the prison is stupid.
How so?
Well, they have these flying robot things that can't hit a target. Then they have guards that take turns shooting rockets instead of firing all at once, which buys the heroes a lot of time. So he gets an Infinity Stone, which gives him the power to wipe out civilizations like weed in a field.
Well, sounds like it's gonna be hard for the Guardians to fight him one-on-one.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though he can easily kill them on several occasions, he's just gonna kinda knock them down repeatedly.
Well, that's super considerate of him.
Yeah.
And you said Thanos is in this movie? Why does that ring a bell?
Oh, she knew it was wrong to be killing kids.
Yeah, for sure, but I think people are gonna like her anyway.
It's gonna be tough to get people to like a character that's complicit in wide-scale child murders.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
What do you mean?
Well, she's gonna act super innocent and adorable.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, she's even gonna join the Guardians at the end of the film.
That is so sweet. I don't even care about those dead kids anymore.
Nobody will.
Wow.
So anyway, Ego needs Peter Celeste. Is how grainy everything is in the 1970s?
Oh, please stop.
Well, okay then. So was it difficult to write a feature film knowing that there's no money to make it?
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just had very few things happen and put in a lot of inexpensive filler to make it 90 minutes long.
What kind of filler are we talking?
Well, for example, at the end of most scenes, I figured we could just have the camera linger for an unnatural. Consider it for sure. So what kind of evil stuff does he plan? Well, like one year he needs a little bit of Harry's blood, right?
Right.
So he has to come up with some kind of evil plan to get it.
Is that gonna be hard to do?
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just gonna have one of his followers pose as a Hogwarts teacher for a whole year, then have him sneak Harry's name into the Goblet of Fire so he gets chosen for something called the Triwizard Tournament, even though that breaks all the rules. Then he's gonna breaks.
I guess we'll have to.
And so Kevin gets separated from his family and follows someone he thinks is his dad onto the wrong plane.
Isn't it hard for him to get past airport employees and security?
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the airport people just kind of take Kevin's word for it that his dad's on that plane.
I didn't realize how laid back airport security was.
Yeah, well, it's the early 90s right now, so airport security isn't that much of a concern.
Okay then. So how does the movie end?
Well, 3 of the generic bad guys get caught, but the lead generic bad guy's nowhere to be found.
Uh-oh, is it gonna be hard to track him down?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, the family has this parrot who has like a rich and comprehensive vocabulary, and he's gonna ride the toy car into an igloo and find the bad guy in there, and it also turns out that this thing was pre-rigged with.
And how does he get over the trauma of the situation? The trauma?
Well, I mean, in Kevin's mind, he's essentially just killed his family with a wish. I imagine that's gonna be hard for him to come to terms with. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Really?
Well, I probably should have mentioned before that Kevin is a psychopath.
Oh,
Yeah. We're talking complete disregard for the physical and emotional well-being of everyone he comes across in his life.
possible. Money.
Where is the money?
Welcome back, sir. Hey, I know you. You're that guy who always says that thing to me.
What thing is that?
It's like very simple, not very inconvenient.
Oh, actually, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
What is?
Never mind. So anyway, yeah, Dracula wants to protect his daughter Mavis from humans. But then a human named Jonathan wanders into his hotel, and he's the first human to ever set foot in there since 1898. So
No, he's fine.
But you said he was like boiling and he had spikes coming out of his back. That didn't do anything?
Yeah, no, that didn't do anything.
Well, okay then. So is it gonna be tough for Howard to beat this big alien monster? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it turns out the lab they're in has this big disintegration gun, so you know, they just use that and that takes care of it.
Wow.
And then at the end of the movie, Howard is now the man. Antagonists are tight.
They sure are. So anyway, then all the cars get to this cliff.
Oh man, it's gonna be hard to get away from the bad guys with a frickin' cliff in the mix.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, Marion spotted a tree earlier, so she just drives down onto that, and then their car is also a boat.
And that works no problem?
It works with absolutely no problem. The tree even snaps back and takes out a couple of bad guys.
Wow. Oh, cool. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so anyway, at the end of the movie, there's gonna be this big fight between Tony and Killian.
Oh man, it's gonna be hard for Tony to protect himself against a guy who can breathe fire.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Killian can breathe fire, but he doesn't use that in the fight at all.
Why not?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Also, Tony's gonna have like 30 remote-controlled Iron Man suits fighting by his side to power a magnet to keep a piece of shrapnel from entering his heart.
I have to say, it sounds like you pinned him in a situation that's gonna be impossible to get out of.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, the terrorists want him to build them a Jericho missile, so they give him a bunch of weapons materials and mostly leave him alone.
Well, that sounds super reckless.
They also leave him with the doctor guy that saved his life, who's like the nicest back.
No.
I mean,
Okay, yeah, he is.
yeah, I thought so.
So yeah,
Yeah, the losers need to figure out how to defeat Pennywise once and for all, right? Oh, is that gonna be hard for them to do? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, they gather around him and they just roast him. Oh, they set him on fire? No, they bully him. They bully him? Yeah, they call him a bunch of names, they call him a clown, and it just goes to show, you know, bullying really does get you anything.
Scare them. Oh, yeah, give them a real good spook. What does he do then? What do you mean? After he scares them, what happens? That's about it. Is it hard for the kids to get away? Oh, no, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, yeah, in pretty much every instance, they'll just run away or even just leave the room. Wow. How come it's super easy for them to escape but not the kids at the beginning? Well, there is a reason for it in the book, but we're not gonna talk about it in the movie. Santa's.
Oh, I gotcha, so at least we have fun set pieces for the violence. Yeah, and then the cops are gonna burst in. Oh man, it's gonna be hard for him to get out of that situation.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just grabs a toy badge and impersonates a police officer.
Isn't that a felony?
Technically in Minnesota, it's a gross misdemeanor, so he'd only go to jail for a year.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so then they find out that a radio station, but then he gets hit by a car.
Oh no. Yeah, not good, no. So then Vigo has some of his guys suffocate him with a plastic bag. Well, it's gonna be tough for him to get out of that situation. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, John's friend Marcus snipes one of the guys through a window, and then John manages to kill the other one. But isn't Vigo standing right there? Oh, no, he left.
He left?
Yeah, no, he figured his men can handle it, so, you know, he took off. He's been trying to kill John City, and I do not like spending money. Oh, yeah, you hate that. I do. I just feel like if we give the Joker an origin story, it's gonna be tough for YouTubers to, you know, come up with theories. Actually, it'll be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, these YouTube people can make theories out of everything. Here, have a chat with my theory guy. He'll put your mind at ease.
What? You have a theory guy?
Yes, sir, I do. Okay, hello?
Hello? How can... Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. Hold on. Hello, yeah, we can definitely work with this.
Oh, amazing. Thanks for your time.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Nice talking with you.
What a nice guy. I'm keeping your phone, by the way. I like it. Oh, that's so mean. So what actually happens in the movie? Well, we're gonna follow this guy, Arthur Fleck, right? And he has this thing where he laughs uncontrollably near a market. That's right. That works. So then they need to escape via helicopter, and Alex is the only one who can fly it, but he's too scared. Wow, is it gonna be hard to convince him to do it? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, you can do this. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, let's go. Wow, that was easy. Yeah, so then after some scary business with a rhino stampede, they land the helicopter in a safe spot. What? Why don't they fly around the island? Don't they need to?
Because he's busy tapping on his sister's chair and telling her to go faster. I guess that is important. And then they're gonna be surrounded by a bunch of raptors. Oh, well that's it, right? Impossible to get out of that situation. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the T-Rex is gonna show up out of nowhere and fight the raptors. How did the T-Rex show up unnoticed? Well, it's gonna be like a ninja in this scene. Not in earlier scenes? No, in earlier scenes it's footsteps, FBI or something. What? SEAL Team 6 Genes? I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that it's a very smart, borderline magical monster. Okay, so if this thing has all those abilities, it must be impossible for people to hide from it. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, well, it can't really see, so it can do all those things, but it can't see? Exactly, so if they just kind of stay still, it has a hard time finding them. That's very convenient. Super convenient. It works several times. So I'm guessing this thing gets... Okay, so tell me about this Justice League script. Okay, so there's this bad guy named Steppenwolf, right? What's his backstory? Barely matters, but he wants to destroy the world, so he has to get these boxes together. And that's gonna be hard for him to do? Oh no, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Great, what's he look like? Well, in the comics, he's got like a goatee and a helmet with horns. Okay. You don't like it? I'm just kind of picturing something more like the back of Professor Quirrell's head in Harry Potter. You know, perfect. Okay, now tell me about the Justice League itself. Right, so Batman figures out that something bad is going on, so he has to convince the other heroes to join his team. And that's gonna be hard for him to do? No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, yeah, well, Wonder Woman's already on board, and then the Flash straight up says yes, and then they're like, we have to find Cyborg, and Cyborg shows up like, hey, I'm Cyborg, what's going on? And Aquaman? Oh, Aquaman, that's where things get spicy here. They go all the way to North Dakota, where there's gonna be a showdown with the Reavers and a clone of Wolverine. It's gonna be impossible for Logan to take them all on if he's dying. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, luckily the kids have like a magic potion potion lying around that activates his berserker rage. That is very convenient. So yeah, then he's gonna go crazy and kill everybody, and his evil clone's gonna impale him on a tree. Oh my god. But that hurts fairies.
Oh, why is that? Because humans have a lot of it, so it works well for story purposes. Right, gotcha. So is it gonna be hard for her to fight back if she's surrounded by iron? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Aurora breaks Maleficent's wings out of a glass box, so they fly back to her, and then she's unstoppable. The wings fly back to her and she's unstoppable? Yeah, because they're so strong and powerful, and they have a bond, and she's like the ultimate bad guy. Exactly. It kind of feels like we've written ourselves into a corner in terms of exciting situations. It's gonna be tough to move past this. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, I figure we could kind of, you know, lean into it. Oh, leaning into things is tight. Wait, what are you talking about? Lean into what? Like, what if in phase 4 of the MCU, we just make the stakes, like, super low? Oh. Testing period where all the other candidates are, like, super serious military types. Oh, man, I imagine it's gonna be tough for a New York cop to be chosen for a secret government organization. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, he does 2 tests and shows that he can think outside the box, and that's all they needed to see. So what are the tests? Well, in the first test, they had to fill out these papers inside these see these movies to see what far-fetched crazy stunts Tom Cruise is gonna do next, so the plots don't really matter that much. Feels like it'd be hard to make a cohesive movie with a strategy like that. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, we just kind of intercut the stunts with Ethan and his team explaining to each other how there's no other possible way to save the day other than to do a crazy stunt. Oh, so we just jump from stunt to exposition to stunt to exposition. Very emotional. And then Liu Kang's gonna have to frickin' believe in himself if he wants to defeat Shao Kahn. Oh, believing in himself, huh? Sounds like it's gonna be hard. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, he passed that test earlier, right? The one where he held himself back from sleeping with a woman he had literally just met? That's the one, and so now he's able to use his animality and turn into a big dragon. Oh. But Shao Kahn's also, she probably did that. Anyway, her and Joe get into this big legal battle, and she pretty much takes everything from him. Well, it's gonna be tough for Joe Exotic to stay in business after that. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, this guy Jeff Lowe swoops in to help Joe out financially. Oh, okay, and what's Jeff's deal? No, it's Jeff Lowe. You gotta say his full name every time. Why? I don't know, but that's what everybody does. Okay, so what's Jeff Lowe's deal? Well, he kind of... Apparently not. Okay. So anyway, years later, the government decided to stop funding the Jaeger program, and instead they just build some walls. Oh, is it gonna be hard for the kaiju to get through those? No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, well, I mean, these things destroy cities, so... obviously, putting up a wall doesn't work. Yeah, that makes sense. Why did they think that would work? I don't know. Huh. So this army guy is like, well, let's get the Jaeger program going again and drop a nuke in the breach. Oh yeah, they're gonna drop a nuke in the breach, huh? Is that like a sex thing? No, it's not. Oh. So he gets generic action hero back in the program and he has to find him a new partner. Oh, is it gonna be hard to find someone who's drift compatible? No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, it turns out that army dude's adopted daughter is a perfect match. That is convenient. Very convenient. Wow. So anyway, they do a whole lot of monster punching and then they blow up the breach. Very cool. So any questionable movie ideas and the producer guy thinks they're all amazing. That does sound amazing. Yeah, and the screenwriter guy can have like a little catchphrase. Oh, is it gonna be hard to come up with a catchphrase? No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, what's it gonna be? I just told you. What are you talking about? The catchphrase is gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh my god, that is the catchphrase? Yeah, it's actually inspired by this old Italian phrase, super easy, bellinoccavini. Pretty catchy, right? Actually, no, that's not catchy at all. Oh, you don't think so? No, that's like super moral of the story here, that fighting is bad. That's right. But it sounds like the entire basis of this property is Pokemon fighting each other. It's gonna be hard to make more stuff if that's the lesson we're learning. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yes, as Mewtwo's flying away, he's gonna wipe everyone's memories and send them back in time to before any of this happens. So they forget the entire movie and the lesson they learned? Exactly, so the property's safe and they can keep really sad. Why would that make him sad, though? Aren't people, like, really mean in comment sections? No, I don't think so. Really? All I ever see people write in the comment section is the phrase super easy, barely an inconvenience. Why would they write that? Yeah, I really don't know. Oh, I guess writing super easy, barely an inconvenience in the comment section is tight. I guess it is. So how does the movie end? Well, at the end of the movie, Vanellope is gonna stay in the internet and Ralph is gonna go back home. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, well, they're still gonna have like a web video chat once a week, so they absolutely need her help in the virtual world. No, in fact, Wade is gonna kill her in the virtual world himself. What? Yeah, but in the real world, they are gonna help her get out of her pod. Oh, is that hard to do? No, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a lever inside the pod and she pulls on that and it opens up.
That is convenient.
So anyway, eventually Wade finds the last Easter egg and gets to talk to Halliday.
Okay.
And Halliday's big message is that we're also gonna have a lot of self-aware meta humor. Oh, getting meta and self-aware is tight, don't you agree? Honestly, not really my cup of tea. Can we keep this rolling though? Fair enough. Hey, the Honest Trailers guy just said super easy, barely an inconvenience in his Deadpool 2 video. Oh, is that a reference to something? I mean, yeah, I thought we were having like a self-aware moment. Are we not doing that anymore? Guys, please just keep this going. I gotta put this up on Screen Rant in like an hour.
Whoops.
Whoops. Each of them are gonna be slightly different.
Oh wow, whatever animators we hire are gonna hate you.
Yeah, I hope they don't like sleeping.
So it must be hard to write storylines with a bunch of alternate dimensions in play.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh really?
Yeah, whenever I write myself into a corner, I just have Rick use a portal gun or invent some kind of intergalactic device.
Very smart.
I also have these episodes once in a while called Interdimensional. Yeah, it's like this tentacle monster that can tell if you're lying or something, but the side effect is that you lose your mind.
Oh, so it's gonna be hard for the pilot to be of any help for the rest of the movie.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
He doesn't lose his mind?
Yeah, someone's gonna remind him that he's a pilot in the next scene and we're never gonna talk about it again.
Seems like a weird thing to include if it's not gonna have any effect on anything.
Yeah, super weird. Oh god, so they're just gonna slaughter a bunch of humans.
Oh my god.
Yeah, a whole lot of dead bodies.
Seems like it's gonna be hard to get a satisfying message for the audience with a violent end like that.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's because the gods are dead that they have the giant food orgy.
So the message is that there is no god and everybody should just pursue hedonism and self-indulgence?
Something like that, I don't know.
Well, it's better than no message, I guess. So
okay, what's wrong?
well, they don't sound like jokes. They sound like observations.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it gonna be hard to get viewers at home to laugh at observations?
No, actually super easy, barely an inconvenience.
What do you mean?
Well, I figure we can lean like really heavy into the laugh track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if the studio audience can lose their minds between every sentence, that'd be great.
We can arrange that.
Then while that's happening, we can have the characters now.
There's a sun now, and on the way, they save some school children and they fight some more sharks. It kind of feels like it's gonna be tough to pull off shark fights of that nature with no budget. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll just have the actors like hit things off screen and then we'll cut to some stock footage of sharks in the ocean. Would that work? Yeah, it's perfectly convincing.
All right, if you say so. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. So then Michael Jordan meets the Looney Tunes and they're like, you need to help us win a basketball game against some aliens.
Wow, he must be losing his mind. It's gonna be tough to convince him to play.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because first of all, he is barely fazed that he's suddenly in a cartoon world at the center of the earth and that aliens exist.
Oh, he's pretty calm.
Incredibly calm. His one thing is that he's a big deal.
Yeah, well, it's gone now. Okay, I guess that's something.
It is something.
Well, so I guess it's gonna be hard to beat Mysterio without his spidey sense, huh?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? How's he gonna do it?
By using his spidey sense.
How does he get it back?
By getting it back.
What do you mean?
He couldn't do it, but then he does it by doing it.
I guess that works.
Yeah, so then he gets the Edith glasses back from Mysterio.
Wouldn't Mysterio also need to pass over?
Play this. Well, Peter and his classmates are gonna go on a trip to Europe, right?
But I mean, it must have been hard to put together a trailer seeing as Peter died in the last movie.
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I figured we could just, not address it in the least.
Not reference it at all.
Exactly, everybody's super cheerful and whimsical, like death never came for any of them.
Oh, acting like people never died is tight.
Yeah, that kind of turns on by itself.
And Tony just leaves that in the hands of a teenager.
Well, he left a software block on the crazier stuff.
Oh, so it's impossible for Peter to access those modes.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Really?
Yeah, well, Peter's friend Ned from high school hacks into the suit and just unblocks everything.
Oh, hacking.
They also take a tracker route so Tony and Happy can't see where he goes.
So Stark Technology's like the best in the world. This Ned guy must be latching onto clouds is tight.
Yeah, so then Miles is stuck to this chair and he needs to figure out a way to control his powers or he can't help save the day.
Is it gonna be hard for him to figure it out?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, Jefferson Davis is gonna say a couple of inspiring words through a closed door and somehow that does the trick.
Very inspiring. So are we talking about Jefferson Davis's father or Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president? Know that?
No, he'd have no way of knowing, but somehow he tells him anyway.
Wow.
And then after a little fight, the mini-sun gets too powerful and they have to find a way to destroy it.
Oh, is that gonna be hard to do?
No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dr. Octavius is like, I'm gonna dump it in the river, and then that immediately works.
And what happens with Harry?
Well, he's gonna go crazy crazy and find his dad's old goblin stuff.
Oh, what does he do with it?
Well, we'll find out in the next movie. Kidnapped?
Mary Jane got kidnapped. I love that we always do that.
It's just as exciting each time.
Man, so it must have been tough to juggle all these villains in the same script.
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, throughout the script, I just had things happen to them that made them take little breaks from the movie.
What do you mean?
Well, like Harry bumps his head and forgets everything for a while.
Oh, amnesia is always a great storytelling device.
Norman Osborn, and he's gonna turn into the Green Goblin.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, he has these bombs that turn people into skeletons.
Oh man, it's gonna be tough for Spider-Man to win when the bad guy has those.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, Green Goblin's never gonna use those again, so it's not even gonna be an issue.
Oh wow, that does make things a whole lot easier.
It sure does. So anyway, Green Goblin's gonna ask Spider-Man if he wants to team up with him.
Oh my god. What, you can't do that. Yeah, he's coming with me. Well, this is just the worst day ever. Well, I guess I'd better go then. I'm gonna miss you, man.
Loving you was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh my god, love? Oh, did I completely misread our entire relationship? It certainly seems that way. This was always strictly professional. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. All right, we gotta go. We got some work to do. Okay, bye. Bye-bye now.
Explain that sometimes people with DID can change their physiology by believing they're somebody else.
Eesh, must have been hard to explain that in a natural way.
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just introduced the character Dr. Exposition.
Dr. Exposition?
Yeah, Dr. Exposition is Kevin's psychologist, and she's there to explain things. That's her whole role in the movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
so a couple years later, Kirk is at the academy, right? And he has to pass this test called the Kobayashi Maru, which is just like impossible to beat.
Oh, sounds like it's gonna be impossible to beat.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, he just modifies the test so that he can win, but then he gets in trouble for doing that.
That makes sense. It doesn't sound like it's allowed.
Yeah, so he has to go to like this hearing thing, and then it turns out that Spock is the one who designed the test so people
Viceroy to kill the Jedi.
Oh, how are they gonna do that?
They're gonna gas them for about 15 seconds and then send some battle droids to shoot at them.
Oh, I like the sound of battle droids. Is it hard to destroy them?
No, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're really bad at their job and the Jedi cut through them like butter.
They don't sound very threatening.
They won't be.
So what happens next?
Well, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are gonna use force speed to run So anyway, he's gonna tag along with the Jedi for the rest of the movie.
How come?
Because
that works.
And they're all gonna rescue Queen Amidala from a couple of droids and then escape through the blockade.
Is that gonna be hard to do?
No, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Wow.
So then they're gonna go to Tatooine and realize they need a new part for their ship.
Bummer.
And Jar Jar's gonna step in poo. Are people gonna think that's funny? Yeah, poop is hilarious.
Well, okay then.
So Qui-Gon is to Padme.
Jeez, does he tell her what he did?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't just kill the men, I killed everyone. The women, the children.
Well, it's gonna be hard to make her fall in love with him after something monstrous like that.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems like that makes her like him even more, because a couple of scenes later, she's like, I truly, deeply love you.
That is how women talk.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because I've never spoken to a real one, so I just took a while. By Count Dooku, so Obi-Wan and Anakin have to save him.
Okay.
So they go fight Count Dooku, and Palpatine convinces Anakin to cut Dooku's head off.
Yikes, must have been tough to convince him to do something like that.
Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just makes a very compelling argument, and that convinces him.
Well, what does he say to him?
He says, do it.
Oh, very convincing.
Yeah.
So what else happens in the movie?
Oh, well, Padme is pregnant seconds.
Oh, wow, these people don't have much emotion.
So eventually Han's ship gets picked up by the Death Star.
Oh man, it's gonna be hard for them to get out of that situation.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just hide under the floors on the ship as the stormtroopers search it.
The stormtroopers don't use their technology that detects life forms?
No, I guess they forgot they had that.
Wow.
And so then Han and Luke take out some... Okay, whatever. So anyway, then Luke is like, no!
Right.
And by now he's out on this thing with nothing below him but a huge drop.
Oh man, it's gonna be tough for him to get out of that situation.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Who said that? I mean, they are right, it is gonna be that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just lets himself fall and he happens to land in a fun slide thing.
Oh, they should call him Lando, am I right?
That's not funny.
Okay.
Another Death Star.
Oh, I bet they're not leaving in that little port where if you shoot it, the whole thing explodes.
No, they definitely don't include that.
Wow, so it's gonna be tough to find a way to to destroy this one. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, they don't have the port anymore, but they do have this tunnel that leads to a reactor that if you shoot it, the whole thing explodes. They are very bad at making these things. Yeah, they are. Wow. Anyways, cliff thing. Uh-oh. And then everything's just going awful. I mean, there are way too many enemies in the space battle. Oh man, it's gonna be tough for the Resistance to win now. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, cause see, just when it seems like all hope is lost, Falcon's gonna be like, on your left, and a bunch of heroes show up. What? Sorry, Lando's gonna be like, we're here, and a bunch of heroes show up. Oh, very cool. And Chewie's house, but they're gonna leave one stormtrooper behind. Okay. And that's when Han and Chewie finally come back, but they have to deal with this bad guy. Is that gonna be hard to do? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Han tricks him into falling through a super fragile railing down to his death. Wow, did we establish that the railing was weak early on in the movie or something? Nope, actually we established that it's so strong a Wookiee can walk on it.
Container filled with cash and waffles.
Right, that makes more sense.
And a barrel of maple syrup so big I almost drowned in it. That's a pretty big brand deal. So can you do it? Yeah, actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh yeah? Yeah, I'll just have 11 be super obsessed with Eggos. Oh, the girl that pops people's brains inside their heads.
That's the one.
Fantastic.
Plus, we can use some of that Eggo cash to make season 2.
Oh, you have a season 2 planned?
I do.
What happens in that one?
A lot. Bertha stole it. Big Bertha? Yeah, she's kind of a reference to that big red fish from Super Mario. I don't know. I don't care. Well, is it gonna be hard for them to get it back from her? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Mario dances with her at a nightclub and shoves his face into her cleavage, and he manages to get it back. Very child appropriate. Yeah. And what's Koopa up to this whole time? Oh, well, he's gonna try to get intimate with Daisy.
They say words.
I gotta be honest, that sounds like a storyline that could have just been an episode of the show.
Probably. Must have been hard to make a feature-length movie out of such a thin story. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just padded the runtime like crazy with a bunch of inconsequential stuff.
Oh, what kind of inconsequential stuff are we talking here?
Well, like the first 15-20 minutes of the movie are literally them going to the movie. Producer.
Well, that's a bargain. It sure is. And I mean, as long as this thing opens better than Terminator Genesis, I'm happy. But that shouldn't be too hard to do, right? Actually, no, sir. That's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Hope you like that pitch meeting. There are over 100 episodes of pitch meeting on the channel that you could check out. I also have some other videos on there, so click around. Also, let me know in the comment section what other movies you'd like to see these pitches for. Don't forget to hit the like button.
Why?
Well, the ship blew up.
Why does that affect them?
Because.
Okay.
And so, yeah. But the portal is still open, right? Is that gonna be hard to close down? No, actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, when Eric Selvig was like totally brainwashed, he built in a failsafe so they just have to poke it with Loki's scepter. How did he manage to do that if he was totally brainwashed? Oh, we're not gonna explain that. Huh. So what do you think? Well, it sounds Bazinga.
Bazinga?
Yeah, Bazinga.
What the hell is a bazinga?
Bazinga, it's like his catchphrase.
Oh, catchphrases are tight. Are they hard to come up with?
No, actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
That's great.
So yeah, Bazinga will be a thing that he says after a joke or a prank that he thinks is funny but actually isn't.
Oh, so what's funny is that it's not funny?
Right, so that way I save myself the trouble of writing jokes that are, actually anything works.
Oh, I'd much prefer if you didn't point that out.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Anyway, we're also gonna have this cop Blake figure out that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Wow, that's a tough one to crack. Must have been hard to do.
Actually, it was super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he kind of just recognized the look in his eyes that angry orphans get.
Oh, that was easy.
Yep, so later Batman's gonna get fixed with magic braces that give him superhuman kicks. Batman needs time to fix his broken back.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, then Batman has to get out of this prison.
Oh man, it's gonna be hard to do that with a broken back.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Bane hooked him up with a doctor who fixes his back with some rope and a solid punch to the spine.
Wow.
And then the prison has absolutely no guards, plus you can just climb out of it if you're agile enough.
That is us, everyone, and take off with it.
Uh-oh.
And Hobbs is gonna get arrested and for some reason go to the same jail as Deckard-Shaw, and they're gonna have to break out somehow.
Oh, is that gonna be hard to do?
No, super easy. Barely an inconvenience, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because now Hobbs and Shaw are superhuman.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I gave them superhuman strength and invincibility. I thought that might be fun.
That does sound fun.
So anyway, we're gonna find out that... So the twist is that was the twist?
Sure.
And so what's the movie called anyway?
Oh man, I completely forgot to think of a title. Let me just think of something now.
Oh, it's gonna be hard to come up with a title off the top of your head.
No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Something happens in the movie, right?
Something happens in every movie.
Yeah, but like especially in this one.
I guess.
So I guess we could call it The Happening.
Yeah, shoots from the other districts.
Wow, it's gonna be hard to deal with the emotionality of that, you know, meeting all these other kids that were chosen as tributes, knowing Katniss has to kill them.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, pretty much all the other tributes are straight up evil.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they were raised to do the game, so they're real into murder.
Wow, okay, that takes a lot of the pressure off of us having to deal with any ethical dilemmas.
Exact thing where Bruce wants to go visit his girlfriend at a university, but everyone's on high alert because the military knows he might try to get in touch with her.
Oh, wow, so it's gonna be tough for him to sneak in there.
Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just gives pizza to two different guys and that solves all his problems.
Using pizza for stealth purposes is my third favorite way to use pizza.
We're also gonna have a scene where Bruce is about to bang, but he has to stop him.
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie.
Anyway, we're also gonna have some pretty cool action sequences for all the heroes.
Oh yeah, must have been hard to come up with a bunch of new heroic things for them to do.
Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had this idea where a big thing is gonna crash into another big thing and the heroes have to stop it, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I just did a couple of variations of that with a big drill and a big train and a big boat.
Very smart.
Thank you. It seems like kids these days think that laughing at death is tight, and then Syndrome's gonna capture the whole family. Why is he even keeping them alive? Because, well, is it gonna be hard for them to escape? No, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, he's gonna leave them all alone, and then the girl Violet is gonna use her force fields to get them out of the restraints. So Syndrome didn't know about her powers? Well, he has cameras all over the island and several you want.
Oh, you can?
Absolutely, I'll give you an example.
All right.
See, I'm you now, right?
Oh my god, okay, it's gonna be tough to get away with that by getting meta. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, you and I are both played by this guy Ryan George, and this is just a video on the internet, so I could be you could be me, nothing matters at all. That was so meta I feel like crying, but I accept it.
Great.
And so what's the moral?
This is kinda long, so I was like, maybe it could be a movie.
So your movie idea is just a really long commercial for Lego?
Right, we make an extended commercial and call that a movie. It'd be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Don't get me wrong, I love product placements, but usually we try to be a little subtle about it.
Well, I figured maybe if the entire movie is one big product placement, then maybe people will forget that we're trying to sell them toys.
Oh, that's kind of evil.
Maybe.
But with incredible photorealistic graphics. Oh, well, it's gonna be hard for us to handle some of the more cartoony scenes from the original if we go with the hyper-realism approach. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, I figure we could just, you know, not do those parts. I feel like those are iconic and charming and important parts, though. Absolutely, but here's the thing. We can't have, like, a pyramid of animals in the middle of I just can't wait to be
around, and she's gonna give him this look like, oh boy, you and I are gonna get it on, brother.
Feels like it's gonna be difficult to convey that expression on a cartoon animal, though.
Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just get me in a room with your weirdest animator and I'll tell him exactly how it should look.
Oh, I can't wait for you to be out of my office, you weirdo.
Anyway, so then Simba's gonna talk to a cloud and go home, so he guides them to where they need to go.
He does, but when they get there are a bunch of soldiers and crap, and one of them comes really, really close to them. Oh my god, it's gonna be tough to survive that. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they hide under this blanket thing, which looks exactly like a rock, so it works out. How does it look exactly like a rock? Well, technically, it's an elven cloak, so. What's that made of? Plot armor. Oh, okay. And eventually, they're gonna get an expert in chaos theory there.
Well, because he was in the first movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be hard to convince him to go after what he went through in the first movie.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, because see, it turns out that Hammond already sent Ian's girlfriend there. She's there right now. She's the paleontologist, Sarah. She went by herself to a dinosaur island despite knowing what Ian went through and the trauma that probably. Or is it all talking? Oh, there's some exciting stuff, all right. You know how everybody loved Agent Smith in the first movie? Oh, yeah, it's gonna be hard to top him as a villain. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, I figure that this time, instead of Agent Smith, we can have, you know, multiple Agent Smiths. Yeah, I mean, logically, more Agent Smiths should be more exciting than just one. That's smart. Thank you so much. But how is it possible, though? I mean, he's everywhere.
Yep, probably. But this way, we get to have a big old action scene.
That's a good point, but it's gonna be tough for them to survive for even like a minute if there are thousands of Sentinels in Zion.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, instead of spreading out and covering more ground, the Sentinels kind of attack in a line, you know, so it's easier to shoot them.
What? Why would they attack like that? I don't know. Fair enough. So both the humans and Sentinels are fighting in just
thousands of people at it.
How do they manage that?
They don't. The shark gets there before them and just starts chomping down on humans.
Oh my god, so it's gonna be impossible to get him out of there,
since he's already eating. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, they're just gonna play some whale sounds on a speaker and the shark's gonna be like, oh, what's going on over there? The shark is just gonna abandon all the food that he's eating because he thinks he hears a whale? Yeah, this thing hidden. They did not want this thing to get out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's in like a vat of mercury and it has statue guards staring at it.
Wow, so it's gonna be hard to get this thing out.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Nick shoots a rope and that activates a pulley system that pulls the mummy right out of there. If they wanted to keep her in the mercury so badly, why did they include a mechanism to lift her out?
I don't know.
Tombstone with his name on it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it says, here lies Father Burke. Why would she make that though? Like, who's that for? It's for us. Okay, gotcha. So is he gonna be able to get out of the coffin? Oh yeah, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, it is? Yeah, the nun was nice enough to include a little bell he can ring to let people know he's in there. Oh wow, what a sweetheart. Yeah, so he rings the little bell and Sister Irene hears it from hundreds of feet away and comes to save him. Well then, that's illegal and dangerous for many reasons. Wow. So what do you think of the movie? Hey man, as long as we beat the opening weekend of Predators from 2010, I'm happy. You think we can do that? Oh yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Hope you enjoyed that pitch meeting. There are a lot more pitch meetings on the channel that you can check out. You can also let me know in the comments section what other movies you'd like to see pitches for. Plus, to find a video expert to figure out what's going on with this weird supernatural videotape. Man, it's gonna be tough to find a video expert willing to help with a weird request like that. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yes, your ex-boyfriend and baby daddy Noah happens to be a video expert.
Oh, that is convenient.
It is. So then he comes over to her place and watches the tape. She lets him watch the tape she suspects makes people die. Laura and Neil would suddenly see new presents under the tree every Christmas morning. Yeah, well, that's not enough for them to believe in Santa, apparently. Well, if that's not enough, it's gonna be impossible to convince them. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, they stopped believing in Santa when they were young because they didn't get the toys they asked for, so Scott gets them those toys. How come the Santa Claus that was in charge when they were young didn't give them what they... Any numbers are there? I guess there are infinite numbers. Well, okay, great, let's go with that then. Infinite seasons. Yeah. Seems like it's gonna be hard to keep people watching for so many seasons. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, what we're gonna do is base entire seasons around one or two big events and cliffhangers. What do you mean? Yeah, we'll have something big start to go down in the mid-season finales and the season finales, and then people will have to wait a couple of months to shot a bunch of times. Oh, well, that's not really a problem for him. Well, we're gonna find out that Viper lady messed with his powers, so now he takes damage. Oh man, it's gonna be hard for him to get through the movie if he can get hurt. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, it mostly just means that sometimes he's gonna wince in pain. Oh, that is a very minor inconvenience. So anyway, Wolverine and Mariko head to just outside Nagasaki to hide out.
Okay.
And they talk for a little bit, but then it starts to rain and their clothes get all wet. Oh, so they make love. What? No, they don't. Yep, they do. I'm sorry. Too deep into the story, we do have to address a big plot thread from the last Thor movie. Loki. Yeah, he's impersonating his father and ruling Asgard. I imagine it's gonna be pretty hard for Thor to deal with. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, what happens? Well, Thor gets back to Asgard and he figures it out. That's like the first thing he does. Taken care of, just like that. So tell me about the story. Right, so the main villain in the movie is called Hel.
Right, so what the hell is Thor talking about? I don't know. Fair enough.
So then Thor and Jane get trapped in the dark world. Oh man, is it gonna be hard for them to get out of there? Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh really? Yeah, they're immediately gonna stumble onto a spot that has a direct portal to Earth. Jane even has cell phone reception and finds her car keys. Wow, that is extremely convenient. So then there's gonna be a huge battle on Earth involving... You mix it up sometimes though? Yeah, well in this one movie, Oblivion, they had this awesome fight scene where he fights a clone of himself. It must be hard to have one actor play two characters in the same scene. Actually, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. And what about his personal life? Like, what's he like as a person? Oh, he's real wacky. Oh, he is? Yeah, well, first of all, he's got the laugh of a crazy person. Wow. Yeah, like if you were walking through an insane asylum and you heard his laugh coming out of... No. Fair enough, let me know if you figure it out. So then Sid decides he wants to use this huge rocket thing on Buzz and all the toys have to stop him. Wow, it's gonna be impossible for them to stop a human. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, Woody just breaks all the rules and starts talking to him, and then Sid's other toys start crawling towards him. That is horrifying. Yeah. That kid's gonna have some serious psychological damage. Well, serves him right for what he's barely gonna be in it. Oh, interesting choice. Yeah, because I thought, hey, what if Optimus Prime was evil? And then that's as far as that thought went. Fair enough. Is it gonna be hard to turn him nice again? No. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, well, Bumblebee goes, hey, Optimus, it's me, Bumblebee. And so, you know, that does the trick pretty much immediately. Great, so what happens in the movie? Same old. Same old? Yeah, you know, everybody wants to get their... Oh, come on, tell me. Well, I thought it'd be cool to get like a really well-respected actor in this one, but it's like the 5th Transformers movie, so it's gonna be impossible to do that. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Hey, I say that. Oh, I've literally never heard you say that. Anyway, we could get pretty much any actor we want with this technique I learned from the Russians. Oh, really? They call it kompromat. What's that about? Basically, you just get your hands on some
How come?
because she's the main character.
Right.
Yeah, so we find out that this James guy is like the deadliest vampire there is. He's gonna stop at nothing to get what he wants.
Well, sounds like it's gonna be tough to stop him.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, they have like a little scuffle with him in a dance studio, and then his head pops clean off.
Oh, well, good.
So then they go to prom, and Bella's like, turn me into a vampire, you coward. And he's like, no, it's the first movie. Train crash. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's pretty good. Yeah, and he's been causing a bunch of disasters just hoping to find somebody like David. Must have been hard to wrap up the movie after that twist. Actually, it was super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I figure I could just freeze frame and slap some text on there explaining what happens to the characters. That feels kind of lazy, actually. What are you, a doctor or something?
What?
Subject change. So who should we get to play a really cool trailer shots, though? Oh, well, that's what really matters, so okay. And then at a certain point, Eddie's gonna get separated from Venom. Uh-oh, is it gonna buy hard for him to get reattached? No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, Venom's gonna latch onto a dog and then onto Eddie's girlfriend, and then she's gonna have to make out with him to transfer the symbiote. Wait, does that mean she had to make out with the dog? You're goddamn right. Oh. Anyway, so then we're gonna have this big nighttime fight that'll be bad. Well, I mean, considering he explicitly said he doesn't want his name attached to this thing, I guess we'll never know. So is it gonna be difficult to adapt? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're basically gonna use the graphic novel as a storyboard, pick some famous panels, and recreate them.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
So what happens in this thing?
Well, it's gonna start with this aging hero, the comedian, and it starts with us. Hey. Did you forget something? Yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. What? I was getting in my car and I just had this huge urge that I should come back and say that to you. What does it mean, though? I don't know, I just felt like people would get mad if I didn't say that. What people? I don't know. Hey guys, Ryan here, hope you enjoyed the... Oh, he does. Yeah, and then at this point in the script, I actually ran out of video game jokes to make. Must have been hard to finish a script about video games without any video game jokes left. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, I just had Ralph head over to this game called Sugar Rush, so we start making candy puns instead of video game puns. Oh, abruptly switching your pun strategy is tight. Anyway, so Sugar Rush is this kind of racing game where the X-Men try to stop Apocalypse and Magneto just destroys cities. Well, it's gonna be hard for the X-Men to take on someone with godlike powers like Apocalypse. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Charles is gonna be like, hey Jean, unleash your power, and so she does that, and that solves everything.
Oh, that worked out pretty well.
It did, and so at the end, Magneto's gonna help rebuild the mansion, and Charles is gonna be like, well, see,
he could literally go grab Mystique and the movie would be over.
Yeah, definitely, this guy is good.
Well, it's gonna be hard to keep the movie going if Quicksilver can just, you know, end it.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're just gonna have Quicksilver, you know, stop helping.
What do you mean? He's gonna go home, I don't know what to tell you.
But how can we possibly explain him not helping? Maybe the rest of the mission's too dangerous for him, he's just a kid. They literally Shaw is.
Okay.
And then he kills them.
But he gets information from them first?
No, he just kills them.
Well, it's gonna be tough for him to find Shaw if he just killed the guys who know where he is.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, in the bar, he sees a picture of Shaw on a boat in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, so he knows that Shaw is on a boat in Miami, and there's no need to question them at all. But that picture could have been taken at any point in time. There's one character that I forgot, and also Rogue gets rid of her powers voluntarily. I have to say, it's gonna be difficult to leave the door open for sequels after all your big boy stuff. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna have a little scene at the end where Magneto's in a public park and he makes a little metal chess piece move.
Shouldn't he be in jail or in hiding? Isn't he like a world-famous terrorist?
You'd think so, but apparently through the lens of movies like X-Men First Class, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Avengers Infinity War, and a whole lot more. So go check them out by clicking here and tell them that Screen Rant sent you. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. Why do you always say that?
I don't know. Fair enough. Yeah, and I wanted to make this into a super badass moment to set her up as a cool character for the sequel, so I had to think of an awesome line for her to say.
Was that hard to do?
No, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just had her crack a little joke before killing him.
Oh, kind of like a John McClane in Die Hard kind of thing. So what's the joke?
She's like, do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything.
Wait, so in the previous X-Men movies, we have Wolverine not knowing about his own backstory.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we're creating a big plot hole here. It's gonna be hard to explain the memory loss.
Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
How so?
I'll just have Stryker shoot him in the head with some memory-erasing bullets.
But wouldn't all the mutants he saved remember him?
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink things. I certainly didn't.
Fair enough.
So what do you think?
Well, that Deadpool guy sounds like a whole lot of hit.
Wow, Storm picked a horrible time to stop helping.
She sure did. So the X-Jet starts spiraling downwards.
Wow, it's gonna be tough for them to get out of that situation.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just before the jet's about to crash, Magneto stops it with his powers.
He's gonna stop it from where?
Well, he's like standing in the forest clearing next to where the plane's going down, so he just kind of catches it.